This week on True Bloods, we meticulously review the simulation game against GWS, and as promised, we go player by player, previewing who's under pressure and who can just go to another level this year. Deeble.
It's an epic start, Mads. We've got the live event being released live at the Rising Sun. Don't miss out on that one. And we've also got this ripping new intro by international DJ Will Sparks. Hit it.
Jeez, this is the most one-eyed podcast.
It's what we're here to do. There is only one side in this competition. It's game-changing.
It's absolutely game-changing, Deeble.
Riddle me that, Mads.
Yeah, riddle me that, Deeble.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to do. This is True Bloods, the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast, and we are back in the studio for your season preview. I'm your host, Deebs, and I'm joined, as always, by Madison Clark. How are you, Mads?
Hello, Deeble. I'm well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, sensational, mate. We've had a bit of a match simulation happen during the week, and as we said, we are back in the studio on your YouTubes doing that tasty video content, and we need to thank the AFL Today team for that. If you want to listen to something that's not just Swannies, jump onto the AFL Today YouTube and check them out. Alex and the team do a great job over there.
We're on your Spotifys, we're on your YouTubes. It's just it's good stuff.
On your X's, Mads. So it's fantastic to have them backing us this year, and looking forward to all that tasty video content.
Yeah, it's good, Deeps. It's good.
I'm
happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with you.
Yes.
And I'm happy to see the Bloods playing some bloody footy again, because I'll tell you what, I mean, what was the statistic? What was the statistic rather? Under Longmire, what did we win? Like one preseason game?
Yeah,
it
wasn't
like
too
that?
many. And that sort of even goes back to the Paul Roos days, doesn't it,
correct.
Mads?
Correct.
We were never known for the big pre-game, preseason hit-outs. We were lucky to win one, if at all.
And I know it's not about the score. I'm completely cognizant of that, Faithful. But the way we went about it from an end-to-end perspective was really pleasing, and we're going to go through the match sim. But we got some pretty average news today, Deeble.
Yeah, it's really not ideal, and it's something that's really hit me, Faithful, because I thought that Callum Mills, the skipper, he was a real cog that was going to help us this year. And that's how we were really going to improve and slot him into that midfield. But the news has come through today that Millsy has gone down with the plantar fasciitis.
Tell us about that, Deeble.
Yes, well, that is in the bottom of your foot, Mads. That is actually the sheath of muscle.
Sheath, Deeble.
The sheath of muscle, Mads. That's what we're going with. And it can be really painful. And this just seems to me like an overload thing. You can just know that Millsy would have been working so hard in that off season to get himself right, to get the work in. He had been, so injured last year, not being able to get onto the field. And for him to go down like this, I'm sure he'd dead set shattered like we all are. And we're probably not going to see him until after the round 3 bye, I think is the word.
So do you mean to tell me that he's gone, didn't play a part in the grand final, didn't play a great deal of a role most of the season in 2024. I'm going to train the house down when everyone else is sinking a doozy at home, Deeble.
And Doozy are on board as the official seltzer sponsor of True Bloods. How good's that? We've got the 6 varieties down here, Faithful. Jump on board. We've got the merch. It's what a partnership. What a time to be alive, Faithful.
Very good, Deeble. We've truly sold out, which we love. Now, Deebs, they're having a doozy. And Callum Mills is just on the hoofs, hoofing it around Bondi and other areas, and that's contributed to the injury, you reckon?
Yeah, or even down at the Club Valley Hotel. Mads, one of the sponsors of the show last year. But it's, look, I think that's how it reads to me. And look, sometimes you can just be a little bit unlucky with injury, but it's one of those real ones where you pound the pavement, you can get a sore plantar fascia. So it's really not ideal, as I sort of touched on. He's one where I needed the Rolls Royce back, Mads. I wanted him back. He changes the team dynamics of us so much.
You feel pretty comfortable when he's in there, right? Yep. You feel much more at ease with him either floating across half back or straight in the guts as a link-up option. It's not ideal. It does open up opportunities for guys like Gus Sheldrick.
Yeah,
and you're probably big beefy, as the great man Alex Donnelly refers to him as. You're just going to be in a situation where you probably want to spend more time in the midfield, and you probably see Gus come in. That's probably the best we can get out of it, is that Gus is probably going to get some game time.
Yeah, you got to think about how it's going to affect us, right? Yeah. And that just means, the key guys in there are probably spending a little bit more time. Your Heaney's are rolling through there a bit more frequent. It probably limits your flexibility to throw the magnets around there, different people going through that midfield. But yeah, it's not the news that you want.
No.
A few days out from our first preseason game against the Gold Coast on Friday. It's just not what you want to hear.
It's not what you want, Deeble.
At the same time, it's not a devastating injury like an ACL where they're going to be missing the year, Mads. It's something where, he's going to come back. Yeah, he's going to be delayed for a month or so, but it's not season over for Millsy.
Hey. Faithful. We did most of last year without him.
Yeah.
That's not to say we don't need him. We certainly need him. I think what we've heard from the upper echelon of the club for most of this preseason is how important Millsy is from a leadership perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly not saying we don't need him, but we can still win games without him. You'd rather him there, but it's going to be okay. As you say, we just have to get past the bye, and he's probably back in red and white.
Yeah, for sure. But the other news to come out of the past week, Mads, the match simulation against the GWS last week. How did you find that, mate? Interesting conditions up there. It was sort of great conditions for the first half. Got a bit of that Sydney rain up there. Oh, how good's the Mykonos weather up in Sydney? It's fantastic. Yeah, look, it was pissing down rain halfway through the second half.
Hold on.
It's a little bit cold down here. I don't want to hear it at all this year, Mads, all right?
You're going to be hearing it because Sydney's perfect weather-wise, and you got all the types of weather that you'd probably want. You got quite warm, sunny weather, and you got absolutely pissing down rain. And we were actually really slick by hand and by foot in that worst weather.
Yeah.
And that's what I took out of it. It was a really good hit out. It had everything. And what you look for, as I said at the start, you don't look, Deebs, at the scoreline. It was great that we were up by sort of 10 goals at one stage.
Yeah.
But ideally, you just want to see, how are we moving it? Are we moving it nicely? Is everyone getting involved? Are people hitting their targets? People putting on pressure when they need to, Deebs? Sam Wicks. Sam Wicks put on pressure. Chad Warner put on pressure.
Taylor Adams
put on pressure.
Run down, tackle.
Yeah, great.
Look, and this is funny. I had a chat to a few of the faithful, and I was looking at there was a match simulation just amongst each other, a bit of an intra-club Mads, and it looked really scrappy to me. The hands weren't clean, and I sort of had the conversation of, look, that didn't look overly...
We discussed this.
This didn't look good to me, and you're worried about it because, that's what we saw in that grand final was, when the pressure was applied, we weren't clean. We sort of buckled under the pressure. But coming up against the Giants last week, geez, we looked clean. We were moving the ball well, and we were just confident in what we were doing. And I heard someone from the Giants talk on SEN, and they were saying that, the Swans were just a little bit more match ready. They had obviously done a lot more match sim, and we were just ready to go. And it's a good thing to get in your first hit out. But that's the biggest thing I took out of the match sim was the cleanliness by hands.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with the match sim that you're talking about prior to that, the intra-club,
yes,
I think there was a specific focus on pressuring the ball carrier, keeping it inside 50, making sure that we can exit D50 with a tremendous amount of pressure. I think that's what it looked like. It looked like there was a mandate, a directive to say that's how we need to be playing. And as we know, our skill is in our execution. So you have to keep that up to scratch as well. And I thought there was a really good balance of that. I thought Ollie Florent as well was cutting to pieces the GWS midfield
There's
through the
one
middle.
word that Ollie Florent did so well. It was evasion,
Yep.
Mads. He just evades off half-back. He takes that little inside step, and it's something that sets Ollie apart from other half-backers. If he can do that and bring that a little bit more consistently this year, I was surprised to learn Ollie averaged more than 20 touches the whole of last year, which I thought was a little bit surprising, but that just shows he did have the consistency. But if we can just get more of those really good games, Ollie is a big asset to us.
Well, it was a part of most of our transitions between D50 and 450 in that match sim. So, and I think he needs to be, because he's an underrated kick.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, he's an underrated kick, and he's underrated in terms of agility. So
when I think good kicks, Mads, I like the weight that's a footballer puts on their kick.
We love a well-weighted kick, don't we, Faithful?
Like Errol, really well-weighted kick.
Yes.
Then you've got a Braden Campbell who's really penetrating.
Oh, hold on. We're talking about Braden Campbell now.
How about his first half?
Faithful. This man,
rejuvenated.
This had me standing up in the office with sort of one AirPod in and just saying, Braden. People are like, who's Braden? I said, well, you probably shouldn't know I'm watching a match sim at the moment. But I was so pleased because we saw glimpses of it, Deebs. We saw glimpses of it at the tail end of last season when he was just doing wonders in the forward line. And that's what he is. He's a natural forward with that booming left boot. He kicked 4 snags and was dangerous the whole day.
Yeah, well, he had 4 goals like 10 minutes into that second quarter or something like that. But that kick is something else. He just looks like he places it on the boot from outside 50, and it's traveling the best part of 60, 65. And did you see the stats that went up on the Swans website yesterday, Mads?
Unbelievable.
He clocked the highest speed as well. So that if you've got Braden Campbell darting around that half forward line, being able to create, get out on the lead, get out in front of his defender.
That's right.
That there's one that can be a game changer. It's game changing.
It's game changing, Deeble.
It's he's a really exciting one. And 4 goals in a match sim, yes, it's only a match sim, but for a player like Braden, who's obviously had a few injuries at the start of the preseason, but as Coxie said last week on the interview, he's just, he's been able to get in the gym, do the things that he can, and it's paying dividends even in that first match hit out.
It's just about, are you getting good glimpses and good signs of guys that you would otherwise think maybe, on the edge, on the outer a little bit of a really good side? What are you seeing from them? What's the intent look like? And I think we saw a lot of that from guys like Braden Campbell, Sam Wicks, and Corey Warner, who kicked a very long goal. And while he didn't have probably as much of it as other people, I thought he was really clean and put on a lot of pressure as well.
Yeah, for sure. And Corey's going to be one busting to get into this 23, and we hope he can do it and show, what he's capable of. But the other standout, Mads.
Joel.
Big Joel Armati, the Armati party. That's something we love to see. Now, before we talk about Joel, let's talk about the big 3 up there last year, because I think a bit's being lost in terms of that. Did you know Madison Clark?
Did I know? Did I remember?
Do you remember? Last year, between the 3 of them, they kicked over 110 goals.
Yes, I did know that.
So that is huge.
I did know that.
And there's this thing going around in the media. It's like, oh, you'll never win a flag with, a 3 power forwards like that. But if they're getting 110 goals between them, that's huge, Mads. That can win you a flag.
It's a lot of goals.
There's you've got a couple of sides out there kicking a few more between their big 3 than
Joel kick?
that.
43 last year?
40 odd it would have been for sure.
43, and Hayden kicked. Now, see, here's the thing. Hayden played 26 games.
Yeah, Hayden.
Okay, 27 goals. So just a smidge over a goal a game.
Yeah.
You probably want a bit more from a key forward.
Dossie's the one who underperformed last year, but I think we touched on it last week. Struggled with his groins, Mads.
Yeah, completely.
I reckon he was struggling with some OP or something like that. You saw the delayed start to the preseason when everyone's sort of out on the track. He was still in the gym. But there's a watch on McLean. Don't worry. Yeah. And I think with sort of getting back to that match sim, Laddams is sort of the one, busting down the door at the moment. It's not both of them can play.
He had intent, didn't he?
There's just a bit of talk about old Eshe. We haven't spoken about Eshe for a while.
Who's talking to you about Eshe?
Mate, there's a lot. If you go put your best 23 out to the faithful at the moment, I reckon 80% are working Eshe in.
You're kidding.
They're working him into the best 23, Mads. He's an interesting one, though. I remember. Look, I'll let the faithful in on a little secret.
We're going to pull down the curtain here, faithful.
Yeah, that's it. Oh well, I reckon it was round 3 last year. We're at Punt Road. We're on the hill, versing the Tigers there, and I was watching Eshe go around, Mads, and he just was not up to the standard. Straight, and I nearly went on the podcast, but I thought better of it. I was like, I don't think we'll ever see Peter Laddams in red and white colours in the senior time again.
You did say that to me. You did say that to me. Yeah,
definitely. I didn't want to go publicly with it, and I'm glad I didn't because I'm probably going to be proved wrong. He played one game in round 17 or 18 last year, but he's one
played
who
against Port.
Yeah, but the other thing, I'm pretty sure it's a contract year for old Eshe. So we're big on contract years, aren't we?
Taxes. Jakey Stringer in a contract year and maybe Pistol Pete. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. But look, I think Eshe's personally, I'll prefer.
You're backing him in, dude.
I'm a Hayden McLean guy, personally.
Big
but
Hayden McLean guy.
I would not be surprised if Eshe works himself into this 23.
Logan McDonald kicked 37 last year.
Yes.
I get what you mean. 110 goals is a lot. I just think we need to be getting a little bit more out of them. And I mean, as well, it's to do with the makeup of our forward line. Yep. And yet you have got a lot of scores from midfielders. And I think probably the same thing will happen again this year. So it'll be interesting. Probably around the same level of goals again, realistically.
Yeah, you need one of them to go to the next level.
You want 50 from one of them.
Yeah, it's if McLean can level up, but the delayed preseason doesn't help. But if he can level up to that standard that we saw at the end of 23, that brings us up a little bit. And then what it looks like with Logan.
Well, I think you are ideally, as a stretch goal, you want 50 out of Logan.
Yeah.
For the contract, for the potential, the talent that we know he has. You probably want 50.
Yeah.
It's only 13 more.
For sure. But this is going to be the talk all year, Mads. Yeah. No preseason, Logan McDonald. And it's nearly like that's the excuse all year.
No, but that's,
you know what I mean?
The thing. It can't be the excuse. If you're on the ground, if you're playing, if he's training, he's playing.
Absolutely.
I just feel like we're still yet to see Logan McDonald's potential. I know he's injured. Big guys get injured. Yeah. That's always going to be the fact of the matter. Yeah. Has he had a slower preseason? Absolutely. Does he play round 1 even?
I don't think so.
Doesn't look like it, does he?
Definitely,
from the way
definitely
Coxie was talking.
Yeah.
So, geez.
Yeah, so that makeup's going to be different forward. Now, as we said to Coxie last week, we're a big swingman pod. We've seen Tommy McCartan up forward in a couple of hit-outs. Now, didn't set the world on fire, Mads, but we've got to stick fat by him, don't we?
Well, I mean, as Coxie said, he's not a forward. He's a defender. And they're just making sure that people are as, agile and diverse as possible from a positional perspective.
Would the right word be cognizant in their position?
No.
No, that's why I didn't go with it. That's why you stick in your lane sometimes, faithful. And that's why next week I'm wearing my fluoros because I am just a locksmith at the end of the day.
No, but it was a good try. Hey, shoot your shot.
He understands the forward position.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, people.
That's good gear.
That is good gear. Now, Deebs, you could say he's cognizant of the basics of how to play a forward role by all means.
Yeah, that's what I was going. That was what I was angling at, Mads.
Sure, but
sometimes you just got to lead the horse to water, and that's what you got to do. just like a little bit of help here. You're my sidekick. We're on camera. We're live on YouTube.
It's almost funnier to let you flounder sometimes, to be honest. But look, I honestly think, like anything, the more he spends time up there, the better. And he's tall enough, and we clearly don't have the depth at full forward at the moment. Yeah. Because if we've got McLean playing injured for most of last year, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Because you can't have that. And that speaks to the amount of goals that he kicked.
Here's one for you. Riddle me this, Mads.
Should we talk about the new intro, by the way?
Yeah. Is that going to be live this week, producer?
Yes,
it is, absolutely. Let's go.
Wow.
Producer Alex in the studio tonight. How good's this? It's phenomenal viewing, Faithful. We love it. Riddle me this, Mads. Joel Hamling and ever playing a game in the red and white. Will we see it this year? And that was one of the questions I really wanted to ask Coxie last week, but forgot.
Yes.
Well, how do you see that? We saw him against the Indigenous All-Stars.
Deebs. I didn't know what he looked like until he played for the
So you're saying you wouldn't know if he popped up in your porridge?
That's right.
Is that what you're saying?
I've been very clear that I didn't know what Joel Hamling looked like. But, I mean, we've got it's good depth to have down there. But, I mean, Lewis Malikan was and I'm not saying they can't both play there, but, geez, Lewis Malikan looked very, very good on the weekend.
Well, I think that the stats read that Liz is the tallest defender.
He's the tallest defender.
Back there.
Yeah.
And, look, I don't know. I would love to see Hamling get given a go because with the way, even what he showed in that first half for the Indigenous All-Stars, it's someone who reads the ball really nicely, can peel off, take that mark, contested grabs, spoil 1%ers. And that's what you need from your fullback. Yeah. And if Tommy's gone forward, he was our number one guy. He was our guy for 1%ers last year.
That's right.
So, look, I can see Joel Hamling slotting in there at some stage. But
Question without notice.
Yes.
How many games does Dane Rampy play?
Has he played?
How many will he play?
Oh, Dane Rampy. You would have to lean towards 14 to 16 games.
Right, okay.
If he can keep the soft tissues under
Is that where
under
Joel Hamling's opportunity is?
Probably. Could well be.
Realistically.
It's suppose how the back six, mold together this year and, whether Tommy has to get thrown back there or Tommy McCartan, gets some really nice delivery and, we see him kicking 5 snags in the first 4 weeks or something like that.
Because Jake Lloyd is pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't miss many games.
No.
Robbie Fox is probably someone who Joel Hamling is competing with.
Yeah.
They play different sort of roles, completely cognizant of that, Deeble.
Yes.
But, for that last spot in the back six.
Yeah. Well, Foxy's another one who's had an average pre-season to what I know. But I suppose we get a bit more of a look at it this Friday against the Gold Coast, don't we? Just another hit out and see all the possibilities. They'll still be throwing the magnets around, and that's what we need to see. It's a lot of hypothesising at the moment, Madison Clark.
See? I like it. See? There you go. You got to give credit where credit's due. That was very
mate.
good.
I'm trying really hard.
Very good. Who else did you like?
I like the endeavour of Taylor Adams. I think he's a player who's really hungry. And as the faithful know, we really rate him
We're
too.
A big
Taylor Adams
pods.
Yeah, it was Tay-Tay with the Taylor Swift theme last year, wasn't it? Era's two are over now, though, so
I think
we'll move on.
My Pies supporter mates call him Taz.
It's not Chris Tarrant, so it's a no for mine.
No, Taz Adams for yours.
For yours. On the first one of the year. We've been a bit slack for mine for yours, but we'll bring him back. We're just, the video content, it's a whole different ball game, Faithful. So stick with us. Stick fat. You got to stick fat with the balls.
So I'm an advocate. I'm a big advocate of Taylor.
I just think he's really hungry. I think he's been training with Haynes a lot in the pre-season. That's something you love to see. He's gone to someone who's gone to a huge level last year. If things went his way, could have won a Brownlow. And I think that's a really smart player to associate yourself with someone who's been able to take it to the next level.
Yes.
And hopefully Taylor can break in to the 23 and, just be that contested beast that we need him to be, and also be able to drift forward and kick a goal, forward pressure, and just as long as the endeavour's there, I'm confident that Taylor can break into this 23.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, yes, you're going to be spending some time at half forward. You just are.
Yeah.
That's just a fact of the matter because
we're stacked.
We're stacked. For one, we're stacked.
Yes.
With Errol, Warner, Rowie, Heaney. Who else?
Heaps. You got Ollie Florent working through there, mate. It's
not. You're frankly too slow. You're frankly too slow to be in that role, and you're not taking Rowie's position. So, he's just going to have to. I mean, if you believe what people say about throwing the toys out with the cot, you've just got to. He's got to get comfortable, if you will, Deeble, with the fact that you're not going to have that many CBAs, but there's absolutely a role from you. And if he does what he did in that match sim, that's massive. That's exactly what we need him to do. And go back and hit the scoreboard, and we need him to put pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
And he can do that.
Yeah, so, here's a big one I'm backing in this year, Mads.
Yeah.
Well, as we said last week, we'll go through the players one by one and just what we're expecting out of them this year and, what the talk around the players is going to be now. Number one, no surprise, Chad Warner.
Chadwick.
It's all going to be discussion around the contract, but as Swanee supporters, we just got to put that to the side and, worry about what we can get from Chad this year. He was sensational, All-Australian last year, and we just need that explosion from contest. That's what sets Chad apart.
Correct. And, that initial 5-10 metre burst is unmatched in anybody else in the league.
The most explosive player in the competition, Matt.
Correct. Absolutely correct. And you're right. It's going to be a bloody long year if we're sitting here speculating and hypothesizing, Deeble, about what this man is going to do with his contract and his future football life. It doesn't matter. What matters is the here and now, Deeble, because we need to get some redemption going.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a big part of it.
For sure.
There's no sense that the rhetoric that people are saying, sit him on the bench, play him reserves. No.
Nah, there's none of that for me.
That is not for yours, Deeble. That is not the way we go about it. Ridiculous. This man is a superstar, a genuine superstar. And he is going to be a massive part of us having a tilt at this elusive flag again.
For sure. But if we do get that elusive flag, I'll give old Chad a little tap on the bum and say, thanks for your service, mate. You're well and truly welcome to leave because we've got the flag we're looking for. But we'll come back to that, Faithful, when the time is right. Hayden McLean, number 2, the big Dostridge.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's not been 100%, you need more than 27 goals from 26 games out of a key forward. You just do. Al, do you? You just do.
Was chopping out Brodie Grundy. So that was his role last year, but clearly not right. We just hope he gets the body right at some stage this year.
He was chopping him out a great deal, but still, it's still not enough from a key forward.
I haven't quite got him in my gun per se, but need the improvement.
Yeah,
Taylor Adams, we've touched on. Brodie Grundy. Huge year. It's nearly, you go back to the Tom Hickeys at 22, how important he was.
Yes.
Brodie Grundy is so important to us like that, isn't he?
And cooked himself. I think he would have learnt a lot from last year in terms of pacing himself because he's one of the elder statesmen of the team. And you could tell he was absolutely sizzled halfway through the year.
Now, you know what I'm big on, Mads?
What are you big on,
I'm big on asking the hard-hitting questions, and I'm going to hit you with one.
Please.
Did we mismanage Brodie Grundy last year?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
The club mismanaged him.
But I think it's on him as well to know his own body. We talk about, we've been very clear about Sam Reid as well. We've been very clear about this. If you're that age and you've played that many games of football, you should know your body as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to put your hand up. Now, it's like everything. It's a relationship. It's give and take. It's give and take, Deep.
A little bit of give and take.
You need to be honest with the football club, and the football club needs to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Nobody wins from you being a hero.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully with the development of like a Will Green, another year underneath, if something did so happen to to Brody, hopefully he'd be capable of coming in and, chopping out with the two other guys.
And that's what Brody said at the members function that we
competing
went to.
well.
He said that he's doing a lot of one-on-one with Will Green, which is a really good thing to hear because you're learning from one of the best.
But yeah, super important to us. Isaac Heaney, the Lamborghini.
The Lamborghini
Heaney. That's what Zano's going with. And we're going to keep going with the narrative that Millsy is the Rolls Royce, and we're going to do our best. But
it's getting harder and harder to do, Deeble, when he can't get on the bloody ground.
The plantar fascia is just absolutely killing the Rolls Royce, but we will keep riding it home for now.
Now, one thing, just off topic for a minute. Did you see who our new medical sponsor is?
Who is that? Durotus?
No, it's Castle Crag Imaging.
Oh, Castle Crag.
So
absolutely.
This is the
Toby
call out
T,
to
Castle
Toby
Crag.
T. Now, obviously the social seg is going to be a little bit different this year, but there will be a requirement for you to be involved in spades, my friend. Did make me think of you. But yeah, I just think Haynes, getting back to Haynes, you got a guy who is almost 29 years. He's 8 years old. He's smack bang Deeble in the middle of his prime.
Ah, yes.
Right?
Prime.
And this is where, this is not going to be a Christian Petrarca situation where we waste his prime. This is going to be Isaac Heaney completely continuing on with his form from last year.
Yeah, and I think we saw that in that little match. Sim had nearly 28, took mark of the year nearly already. He's flying. He's got the foot right, which is great to see. That's something you don't want to see lingering, is a foot injury like he did have. So he's up and running. So Haynes is primed for another big year, which would be great to see. Logan, we've probably touched on those forwards, what we're expecting out of Logs. Now, Harry Cunningham gone down with the foot ligament. I'm hearing Liz Frank.
Sorry, mate.
Liz Frank, I think it's a ligament in your foot. I'm not too sure. Not too sure. It's really not a good thing to have.
That's not ideal.
He was on crutches and in a boot. So not ideal.
That's not good.
That's
ideal
not good
for
Harry
somebody
Cunningham.
whose speed is his weapon.
Yeah, for sure. But hopefully he recovers all right. But yeah, another one. So there's a few, now we start to talk through it. There are a few injury concerns, Mads, but I do think a lot of the core players are still capable of getting it done. But Harry is a really important one, and so important to our structure to lock down those small key forwards when he is playing. But really important player to us.
Yeah, absolutely. He's unheralded and unsung. He's a workmanlike player that we would love there, but unfortunately, is there sort of a time frame?
Nah, look, I'm not going to put a time frame on this one. I'm not that educated.
Not Mystic Deebles.
No, not Mystic Deebles with this one. But yeah, it's not good news. But hopefully, it is not as bad as I'm hearing.
Now, Deeble, James Rowbottom. James Rowbottom. I'm just looking at the ever reliable footy wire here.
Yes, we love a little bit of footy wire.
The concern for me, and sometimes it hits me, Deeble.
Yes.
That I'm, in fact, old. When I see that James Rowbottom was born around approximately the time that Nicky Webster was singing Strawberry Kisses at the Sydney Olympics.
Yes.
And that concerns me greatly, that he was, just of this earth when that was occurring.
But great for the Swannies to have the youth on his side.
Absolutely. It's essential, but just saying 2000 as a date of birth just kills me. But anyway, he is probably in our top 4 most important players at the moment, probably for the last couple of years. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, back-to-back third-place finishes in the best and fairest shows how highly the club rate him internally. So we know what he does defensively. The over 100 tackles last year. Rowe is so important to what that midfield can do, and one that allows the other guys, the superstars in there per se, Mads, do what they do. So
have a look at him. He's a superstar.
Yeah, he's a bloody superstar, Mads. Who have we got after Rowe?
He's averaging 7.8 tackles a game.
Yeah, it's berserk. It's Jude Bolton-esque. It
really is.
It's so good to see. We love it.
After James Rowbottom, we have Will Hayward.
Big doozy guy. Big doozy guy. So thanks, Wilbur, for getting behind us this year, mate. Appreciate it. It's Wilbur, one of the most underrated players in the comp.
According to Kane Corns.
Kane Corns.
Yes.
He's been on him for a long, long time, but he's a really hard player to match up on too, and that's what I really want Will to expose this year. I really rate his tank.
Yes.
Do you remember if Kinnear touched on how hard he worked at his tank early in his career, and I think he's seen the fruits of that now. It's if he can get up the ground, double back, take those big chest marks that he does. I prefer the jukes out sometimes, Wilbur, but when he gets that big chest out as well, I do like seeing it.
And he gets so high in the air.
Yeah.
You know, it's impossible to defend, really.
And you know what we love from Wilbur too?
What do we love?
A little bit of scoreboard impact, Mads.
and he's great for that. He's fantastic.
He would have got close to 30-odd goals, I reckon, just under last year, but definitely 30 the year before. And if we can get that 30 to 40 mark out of Will Hayward, that's going to set us on the right direction.
41 goals last year.
There you go, 41. I was close.
Can he swing back? Can he swing back?
He's not the one I'm swinging back. He's too dangerous.
But when he plays that defensive role, he has to go down there sometimes.
Yeah, if it was desperate times for desperate measures, maybe Wilbur back there, but
he's just
not
tall,
the one
he's
for
just
mine.
Tall enough.
Yeah. He's agile enough too.
That's what I mean.
Covers the ground really well.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All of these attributes say to me, swingman.
Yeah, well, that Logan McDonald's the swingman for me.
Yeah, but for you, Deeble. But
for yours.
Fundamentally, I think Wilbur has a lot more attributes of a swingman.
Yeah.
Right? When I think of a swingman, I think of Adam Hunter. Right?
Yeah.
Adam Hunter is one of the best swingmen, may he rest in peace, I've ever seen do it. And he annihilated us a number of times.
Yep.
If he's the prototype, I think Will Hayward's much closer to Adam Hunter than Logan McDonald is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to see Logan as a swingman. Yeah. No offense. I want to see Logan kicking 60 goals.
Yeah, but I'll see. Jury's out on Logs. We need to see it soon. But
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to waste time having him go back there.
Do you just remember seeing how effective?
No, I know.
That game against Collingwood last year, man. We were like, bang, that's him, and then we just never saw it again. Really.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I don't know. It's a discussion for another day. Aaron Francis?
I'm a big Aaron Francis guy.
You are a big Aaron Francis guy.
Oh, man, he's there. He's an honest footballer. Is he a great footballer? No. Okay? He's not a great footballer, but he's an honest footballer.
Do we need to get you in an Aaron Francis T-shirt? I'd love to see it.
If there's one floating around out there, Faithful, send it my way. I've got the friendship bracelet from old Polly Porridge. You know, I'm a big Aaron Francis guy.
You are.
But I what do you think? What do you genuinely think?
He is depth. Like, if we're battling back there for key defensive pillars, Francis can come in and play the role.
He can. That's what I'm saying.
And we've seen him do it. And I think he does get a little bit of a hard rap, but at the same time, he's never going to set the world on fire. But he's good to have on the list.
Speaking of setting the world on fire, Tom Papley.
Pappers, the Paps.
Yeah, love him.
Yeah, you do.
He's injured.
Yes, minor. He'll probably play Friday night, I would have thought.
Yeah.
So
like we say, his versatility and ability to energize us as an entire squad.
Yeah.
Very hard to match up against. It's just I think he plays with a lot of injuries. I know he's had calf issues in the past.
Bit of compartment syndrome.
Yeah, compartment syndrome, which is apparently hectic. Like hectic.
Yeah.
So to play on that is pretty courageous in itself. But, you know, if he stays fit, you know, he's got what did he do for us scoreboard wise last year?
I reckon 35-ish was injured for like 6 weeks.
36.
There we go. So yeah, I'm the stats guy in here, mate.
Stats guy.
But the big thing we want to see is that impact when he's injected into the middle, centre clearances, hit the scoreboard, energise a bunny. That's Tom Papley.
Yeah, has to be.
Gussie Sheldrick, he's the one being talked about a lot. He's the one who needs to. It's a big year for him.
Yep.
Needs to break into that midfield, show us what he can do, and just be that contested ball that we know we need. Faithful, that's what we need. We need Angus Sheldrick to lift to if Angus Sheldrick lifted to a B+ A level.
Yep.
That changes us as a side. Very much the same way if we got Millsy back, but yeah, it's subject to staying fit and getting a good run run at it. And Gussie's one I'm giving some time to. I'm not expecting him to, hit the ground running and have 25, 30 every week.
You can't.
But ideally, that's what I want to see.
He's only played 9 games.
Yeah, when the whips are cracking, that's what you want to see.
You want to see that. Every single, dare I say it, enough Sydney supporter I know who follows the VFL very closely is big raps on Angus Sheldrick.
100%.
Big raps.
Definitely.
So, I mean, as I said, we've seen 9 games. We've seen glimpses.
Yeah.
He's just been very unlucky with injury.
For sure.
He's going to have opportunities in spades this year.
Definitely.
And I'm looking forward to it.
We are.
I want to be a big Angus Sheldrick guy.
Same. I want look, if Sheldrick breaks into this midfield and we get what we want, we'll do an Angus Sheldrick t-shirt. I'm telling you, that's you got to set something for people to chase, a little bit of a reward. And I reckon Gussie's going to be hitting us up in the DMs after this and say, boys, can you whack me on a t-shirt? The family would love that. And it's something we'd love to see. Oflo, we've touched on
Millsy, we've touched on
Wixie, positional change.
Wixie, it's a big year for Wixie.
I reckon he could be your number one guy.
I'm a big coming from humble beginnings with Wixie and the Wix family.
Very humble beginnings.
Not that his family are coming from humble beginnings. My relationship with the Wix family has come from humble beginnings. I'll tell you about it later, Alex. I'm big raps for him,
mate.
And he's an old school footballer. He's an old school footballer. He has grunt about him. I think we lack that.
Yeah.
I think we've lacked that for a while. We don't have Luke Parker anymore. That's a lot less grunt that we've got in our team.
Yeah.
Wixie's important and he showed a lot. I think a positional change is an absolute
godsend
for him to be able to just sort of hit the reset button and go, okay, some things didn't go my way last year and I've got an opportunity to start with a clean slate. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm a big Sam Wicks guy too. It's he's really looking forward to what he's one I'm really just excited about. I'm hoping he can execute this year and help us improve.
Yeah.
Braden Campbell, we spoke about him in that match sim. If he goes forward, he is dynamic like he is, hitting those top speeds, kicking goals, using his biggest attribute, which is that left foot and kicking goals. We saw how skillful he is, Mads. That game last year, snapping it from the boundary at Etihad. And Etihad, what do they call it now? Marvel. He was sensational and he's quick, dynamic. Braden Campbell, let's go this year.
And he's a confidence player, right? And can you imagine what he would have taken? I know it's a match sim. Faithful. But because he's a confidence player, the amount that he would have taken out of that, you just go on with it.
For sure, mate. For sure. So, really looking forward to what BJ can do this year. Now we move to JJ, James Jordan. He's nearly second to Brodie Grundy on importance in this team. But we spoke about it with Coxie, just allowing that flexibility in the midfield. The defensive running, the ability to take up a tag mid-game. It's so important. JJ's huge for us.
It's critical.
It is.
Absolutely critical. And I think, to another guy who's got a lot to prove.
Yeah.
And I think he's got a role. Call him Butter, Deeble.
Yes.
Call him Butter.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I love that one. That is one of my favourites, Butter on a roll.
But and he's going to be even more required this year.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to go up a level. Everybody gets better.
Yeah.
And, there are guys that he can just go to and he can nullify, and that is game-changing Deeble.
It's game-changing Deeble. Madison. Jesse Detoli with the lumber. He will be delayed. Hopefully we see him make his way through the VFL at some stage and hopefully earn his red and white jumper. That'd be great to see. Big raps on him. Looking forward to see what he can do.
Absolutely. We've gone through Eshe.
Eshe
Which is good.
Yep.
So it's a watch on him. Deebs is obviously very excited about him.
Mate, it's not a personal opinion, Mads. It's just the general feel that I get from the faithful.
It's the vibe. Marbo, it's the vibe.
Exactly right. Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, I haven't heard any of this.
Yeah.
But
It's just nice to have you back in the Faithfuls chat after, you remove yourself during the cricket season, doesn't do other sports. He's an American sport only guy. So it's good to have Mads back in there.
I think I do more sports than other people. It's just
not a cricket guy.
Not a cricket guy. But I mean, I just can't, even if a chat is muted. Yeah. Even if a chat's muted, Deebs, I just can't help it. I can't help it. I need to click it. Need to click it and read all of it.
That's for sure.
It's not good for productivity.
Yeah, it's nice to have you back, though.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Riak Andrew, highest vertical leap at the club, as we saw during the week via those stats. I love those stats, Mads.
Do you want another funny age thing? He was born the year that we won our first flag in 72 years, Deeble.
Yeah, sure.
And that's equally concerning from the Dandenong Stingrays.
Yeah, he's I reckon he's one that could pop up and where we need an intercept defender, and Riak Andrew finds himself on debut. I reckon we could see that at some stage.
Yep, massive.
Probably needs size like they all do.
Well, he's skinny, right? Yep. But he's bloody tall, and I'm sure he can put it on nice and quickly. Now, the great Errol Goulden, we've talked about him a little bit. 93 games, coming up to his 100th. Geez, that feels like a quick 100.
Back-to-back All-Australian jumpers in 23, 24, consistently the best winger in the competition. There is no doubt about that. Errol Goulden, our guy. I'm just going to
flat out say it, Deebs. He's the best kick in the league.
Yeah, gets to see Errol Goulden, you get on a T-shirt. Very good. We love what Errol does. And he's just one, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. We don't need too much more out of Errol, but what we do need is the consistency that he's shown the last 2 years.
Yep,
that
we
brilliance.
Just need him to maintain that.
We do.
And probably the same with Lizard.
Yep. Huge last year. And it's something to an uneducated watcher of football. What Nick Blakey does for this side is huge. The ability to get back, help out that defender who gets the big guy and also take care of his man. And then at the same time create off halfback as well, Mads.
Well,
the Liz was huge last year.
His job is hard. Yep. His job is very difficult.
It is.
He talks about how nothing really goes through his head when he's going on those runs, and I believe that. But you're talking about a guy who's got to focus on so much more than a lot of the other players, right? There's so much more pressure on him, which is very, very commendable. Because he's doing a great job at playing both roles.
For sure. Now, I'm going to group these guys all together.
Here we
Ned
go.
Bowman, Ben Patton, and Riley Bice. Now, Ben Patton's probably one who could find himself working his way into the sides early in the year. Played in the match sim. I think we might see him on Friday night as well against the Gold Coast. He may be a little bit different to Ned Bowman and Riley Bice. I think they'll be doing some time in the VFL, but if they've just got to keep fit, learning the structures of the Swannies in the VFL under Jared McVeigh. It's they're two that can really take a lot out of being coached under McVeigh in the VFL.
Yep, I agree.
For sure.
I mean, you just stay ready.
Be
ready.
Stay ready. Dane Rampy.
Number
24.
Dane. You've sort of crossed out half the season for him. You reckon he'll only play 14 games?
15, 16. That's a third if I'm doing my maths correctly.
Oh, you'd be better at the maths than I would.
Big numbers guy.
Yeah, big numbers guy. But I actually think we'll get a little bit more out of him.
Yeah, I hope so.
But we've seen, and this is the funny thing about Dane Rampy, right? How old is he? He's almost 35. The funny thing about that age is you athletically fall off really quickly without notice.
Yeah. And that's been a hallmark of his game is the closing speed on forwards.
But he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what scares me because it may go like that.
Yeah.
Or he may have a year like he did last year.
Keep it on.
Instrumental to the structure of our back six, the leadership in our back six, and taking probably the second best defender every time.
For sure.
Take second best forward, sorry.
Yeah.
So, I think we're in a situation where, where it's a luxury. It is a luxury to have him. Remember when we said...
Do you remember?
Do you remember, Deebs, when we said that 2-year deal didn't really make a lot of sense?
Yeah, we were in our words.
Egg on our face.
Egg on our face, faithful. Yeah, absolutely.
He's a weapon, and he's a Bloods legend, and can't wait to see him go again.
For sure. Number 27. This is Juzzy. Justin McInerney.
This is Juzzy. He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the
one
best.
of our guys here
Yep.
at True Bloods, absolute ripper. Had a phenomenal season. We saw when we lost him for that 6-week period last year how important he was
Killed
to us.
Doesn't it just kill you,
Doesn't it
Deebs?
just kill you, Mads? It's Juzzy's so good. A really underrated kick in the competition. I think he does that better than a lot of people give him credit for.
Really well-weighted kicks.
Yes.
Yes.
Well-weighted kicks. We love what Juzzy does, and yeah, another big year from him would be lovely.
We've spoken about a lot of the following guys. Caden Cleary, obviously disappointed what happened to him. That's right. He'll learn from it. People make mistakes. People are human, and he'll come back better than ever because I think he's got a lot to offer. And again, not like he's out for the season. We're going to see him early in the piece, which is great.
Yeah, for sure. Matty Roberts, the one, our biggest improver last year.
Massive.
Locked down that halfback role. Distribution was elite. And yeah, I'm sure we'll just be seeing a lot of the same from Matty Roberts, won't we?
Have to.
You hope he doesn't get those second-year blues. That's what you can see in a player who breaks out one year, can sort of go backwards the next. But I think Matty Roberts has had a big pre-season as well. He's been fit. He's been working on his game, and I'm backing him to, elevate again this year.
I actually can't really think of anyone who's had average, like the sophomore blues. Maybe Braden plateaued a little bit.
Yep.
A little bit, but honestly, I think we do it quite well.
Yeah. It's all about managing those guys.
It's all about managing their expectations of themselves as well, because you're developing. Who have we got now?
Caleb Mitchell, Sid.
Yeah, Sid, as they call him.
Sid played a game or two last year. Definitely played that game against Richmond where we lost.
You know where Sid comes from?
Looks like Sid off Ice Age.
Correct.
Not bad from me.
It's not. It's great from you, Deebs. I didn't think you'd know what it was.
You tripped me up, didn't
I thought I'd got him. But it's a pretty disparaging nickname. Poor Caleb. I don't think anyone wants to look like Sid from us.
You reckon he's got a few more looks about him than the old...
it's impactful, I feel.
Sure.
But he's going to be a weapon as well. Cracks in, Deebs.
I think that's one who really holds high regard within the club.
Yeah,
he said he was, to get the opportunity he did so early last year. You hope he can embrace some of that got him to that level and go again.
Get onto the pack, get the footy.
Big Joel, we touched on him. We know what we need from the forwards. We don't need to crap on about that too much. But if we can get 75 goals out of Joel Armati, that would be really nice.
Lazy 80 would be handy.
It would be really nice, and I think we win the flag. Corey Warner. He's one who just simply has to find a way to break into this side and just do what he does. You can see we've been able to see what he can do for the last couple of years.
There's potential.
He's
only played 9 games. That's not enough.
Yeah.
He needs to be banging down the door here, and he can do it with performances like that. Now, he didn't touch the ball a lot, but when he did, it was meaningful. Yep. It was positive. It was impactful. And that's just something that he needs. He needs to get consistency in that. We know he's got the talent. We actually do.
Yeah.
We actually know we've known it since he came to the football club. I have full faith in him, and just quietly, it's probably important that he starts playing quite well.
Yeah, for sure. Indy Kirk's one. Did we see him at the top? I don't think we saw him at the top level last year, but important to get that continuity into his game. Once again, he's one who's going to have to really set the world on fire in the VFL, or it's going to be hard to keep him on that list.
Correct.
Smaller body, big year for him. And
that's what they said about his dad.
And as you talk about Joel Hamling, with all due respect, don't know too much about Blake Laidler.
Blake Laidler, yes.
Laidler.
Any relation to Jeremy?
Yeah, cousin. No, don't know.
We'll go with cousin.
But yeah, we don't know too much, do we?
No, we don't.
We won't try, talk facts to the faithful when we don't have any ourselves, unfortunately.
Facts-based
we
pod.
are. We don't bullshit the faithful. So
yeah, that's you've scrolled back a little bit, but anyway, Tom Hanley, Jack Buller. Jack Buller's had played with injury last year.
Yep, the back.
And yeah, I don't know what state he's in. at the
delayed
moment.
start to the preseason as well. Another one battling with injury. Tommy Hanley getting around in the match sim.
Yep.
He was he was sort of compared to Tommy Papley early on, mid-season pickup, I think he was.
Yep. Patrick Snell, well regarded inside the four walls.
Yes. He is one where Kinnear was a big fan, wasn't he?
Yep,
big Paddy
time.
Snell
Big
from
time.
Brisbane. I'm pretty sure he was
That's
from.
right.
But yeah, he's just got to bide his time for some opportunity. I think where the opportunity could come in this side is in that back six, depending how it sort of all plays out.
Are you saying from an age profile?
An opportunity, I suppose. It's going to be performance-based, isn't it?
What do you think, Deebs, is our biggest area on the ground for concern?
See, a lot of people say it's just the match-winning ability of the forwards, isn't it? That's where the question comes up.
But they get papered over. The Cracks get papered over there
by the midfield.
So and they've been carried by the midfield. Yeah. But I honestly think our back six occasionally looks suspect.
Well, they bat above their weight, don't they?
They do.
And
that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So it's more sustainable how the forward line operate than how the back line operate.
If you're constantly getting by, I get where you're coming from.
They absorb a lot, and the damn gates are going to open at some
point.
But
you know, it's the likes of Rampy that step up. You got your Lewis Malikins.
Well, I think it's going to be a massive. I mean, he's the next on the list. I reckon he's going to be a massive part of this year.
Yeah,
he's so strong, dude.
Dude, looks so strong.
No, but he actually is so strong. 1-on-1, he's hard to beat.
For sure. Yeah, big year for Lewis Malikan. Robbie Fox, delayed start. Be interesting, his role. It's been chucked around a few times in the last couple of years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
He's an interesting player.
I don't want to see him in the forward line.
A lot of 1 year deals back to back, Foxy. So you hope he can get some continuity and get himself into this 22 because we know how hard he can work and just having the ability to play different roles. That's what Robbie Fox that brings as a skill set. Can play forward, can play back, and we've seen when the balls are to the wall in games where we're not going well, Foxy has been one to stand up in those situations.
For sure.
Then Jakey Lloyd.
Mr. Consistent.
Mr. Consistent, exactly right.
Some people really not happy with how he's going.
I don't think it's how he's going. It's just when you put everything down on paper, he's the one that could make his way out of the side. It's not necessarily – it's like we've got a lot of those players coming off half-back now. You've got who's our half-back?
Nick Blakey.
No, I'm not thinking of Blake.
Florent.
Matty Roberts.
Yeah.
Matty Roberts has sort of taken off his distribution role, so he's doing it a little bit different now. But yeah, I'm a big Jake Lloyd guy. You saw how well that he was able to adapt to the game in that qualifying final against the Giants where we stormed from behind. He went up around the contest. He was able to get out, kick that amazing goal in front of us on the wing there, Mads. That was berserk. We were going nuts. And
we were going absolutely
I don't know. A two-time Bob Skilton medalist, it's like until he's having 6, 7, 8 stinkers in a row, I think he's earned his time.
Was it last year or the year before where he had that really rough start?
You came for him?
Yeah, I came
the
for
year
him.
before.
Yeah.
So good last year, and then 23. Started 23 when we were battling.
Yeah.
I think was when we were questionable on him, but backing Jakey Lloyd in every day of the week.
Have to.
And then Will Green as well. The backup ruck, hopefully develops under Brody, may even get an opportunity at some stage. I'd love to see it. They're big on him at the club.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And that's every player on our list. That is comprehensive, Mads.
That's comprehensive, Dable.
It is. It's large. What else are we?
Going to be fascinating.
Big season calls, Mads. Where do you see us finishing? What are your expectations going into this year?
It's funny. I've had this question asked me a lot, Dable.
Yep.
And if I'm going to be realistic, because I feel like I could be honest.
Yep.
I feel like I can be honest with the faithful. Not a lot's changed in our list. I just feel coming back emotionally from those 2 grand final defeats, not being able to get over the hump, I think that mentally is impactful. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a slower start to the season. But that being said, I then back in the cream rising to the top of our midfield and hopefully Logan as well to get us back into action.
Yep.
And I see us maybe finishing 4th or 5th.
Sure.
Based on that slower start.
I just think our talent has hardly gone backwards besides losing Luke Parker. And I think we're just stacked with A-graders, right? Your Chad Warners, your Isaac Heaney's, your Errol Goodens, your Nick Blakey's. If Tom Papley gets consistent and has a ripping year, it's like we've got enough of those guys to elevate us to the levels, and hopefully it's not required, but they can get us over the line in games. They're match winners.
But I mean, I think what will also change, and where there's the unknown for me, because what I'm saying, and my projection of where we may finish, whether it's sort of 4th or 5th, that actually may be based on horses, Sydney Swans.
Yep.
I haven't seen sort of what Dean Cox is going to do, and we'll get, more acquainted with that on Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll get more acquainted with that sort of opening round, because that could be, the mental side of it could be resolved.
Yeah. From
there. So in terms of the talent, that's unquestionable.
Yeah. We've got the list.
We've in fact, I wouldn't say we've gotten worse in any way, shape or form. We've got the players to cover Luke Parker, as sad as that is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's what fills me with the confidence, right? It is the new Dean Cox era.
Coxball.
We're going with #Coxball this year. We've got the ability to bounce back.
We do. But what do you think? What do you think?
I think it's a top 4 finish.
Yep.
And I'm confident with that, with simply the players we have, and we know this group is already resilient, right?
Absolutely. Undeniably.
Everyone said we were never going to be anywhere after 22. What did we do? We started slow, came from the clouds, still made finals. The next year, a grand final, well, the best side in it. We know we were faithful, and we just got it wrong on the day. Too many things went wrong. But we have the ability. You saw what the Lions went through to win that flag. Knockdown after knockdown. It's like, we're not down and out here, faithful.
Make no mistake, we can win the flag.
We can win the flag.
We can win the flag.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Make no mistake.
Look, we know how hard they are to win. I just know we're good enough. New fresh air with Coxie, a new voice. That fills me with confidence. It's played out really well. No other club does it better than we do when it comes to coaching changes.
And preparation.
And stability at the board. Even the board. So it's I'm filled with confidence. It's hopefully we can bank wins early. And what I want to see is peaking at the right time of the year. I don't give a stuff if we're 3 games clear at round 14 again. That's not what I want to see. I want to see us peaking in September and giving it a good crack.
I was thinking about that in the shower the other day, actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking
really deep in thought, were you?
I was thinking about the concept of peaking too early.
Yeah.
Don't know if I buy it.
Yeah, it's just you don't want to be playing. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
There is nothing to suggest that you can't continue playing that same
it on.
Everybody gets a break. You all go home and you get into a bed after a game. You go and do your recovery. You go and do your training. Everybody has, loading and things like that. I just don't know if I buy
fair enough.
The hitting your straps at the wrong time or the right time. I think, if you get on a run, there's no telling what you can do.
Yeah.
These are professional athletes. Stuff does go wrong, right? And we saw it go wrong last year. We're a year older now. We're still a young list. We're a year older. And it's really exciting under Dean Cox.
It is, mate. It is. Breakout players for 2025, Madison.
Braden Campbell.
He's the one for yours.
For mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
For mine. I think he's about to. And you could see it in that game against GWS.
Yeah, BC.
The quality.
Yeah. Oh, look, big BC guy. Here's one where you just always wanted to see more. He was in the same, draft year as Errol. We've seen what he could do. Yeah, BC gets a good run at it, and we'll be the number one cheerleaders, won't we?
Absolutely. Well, who do you think?
Yeah,
do you think BC as well?
It's Sheldrick.
Sheldrick for yours.
For mine.
Yeah, sure.
I just want guys who just haven't given themselves the opportunity, whether it's through fault of their own or not, but gets his body right, gets a crack at it, and we see what we saw back in that 23 year.
What have you? Pardon my ignorance. His injuries, have they been of the soft tissue variety?
Yeah, I think he's had foots and knees, and I'm not quite over the injury history, but he definitely has had a crack at it. That's for sure.
Okay, ankle. Yeah, sure. A couple of times, Al? Yeah, okay. Right. Interesting. I just wanted to know if there was like a soft tissue history.
Yeah, not too much soft tissue, but yeah, he's the one I want to break out.
Then Al just kicked his Aaron Williams up in the air and he said, "That's the ankle, Mads." So look, Gus would be fantastic because he seems like a blood.
Yeah, he's what we love, isn't it?
Oh,
absolutely
we
faithful.
Love the Bloods.
Players under pressure, mate.
Yeah, players under pressure. You know what's funny?
You know who's under pressure for
Who's
mine?
that? For yours?
Corey Warner.
Well, he's out of contract.
Out of contract. I love what Corey does. I've seen him a few times at VFL level, and you can really see if a player's got it. He does it at VFL level consistently.
That's a concern, though.
And then
it's a big gap.
But, I think he played 6 games last year. In 5 of them, he was either the sub or got subbed off. So it's like he's not been given a run at it either.
No, correct.
Where a lot of players have been, they stick fat and give him 5 or 6 games, full games.
Yeah.
And that gives him an opportunity. So that's all I want. I want Corey to get his opportunity.
We've always said that.
Yeah.
We've always been very clear that the only way people are going to improve is if you get your 5 or 6 games in a row.
Yeah.
Regardless of how they play.
A little bit of continuity, Matt.
Continuity. We're a big continuity pod. I think the difference here will be Dean Cox.
Yeah.
This is going to be. Hey,
it's a big one.
Don't get it wrong, Faithful. Horse has his favourites.
Yeah.
Horse absolutely had his favourites. And that is, something that I think Dylan Stevens, aside from, probably not being at the level, was a victim of as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It's massive pressure that he's under.
Yeah.
Because he's out of contract, but we'll see how he goes. I think he'll get a shot.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, mate.
Logan McDonald.
Pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To
sign a 2-year extension.
It's the two sides of it.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's he's out of contract 2028.
Yeah.
So you're in a situation where you're probably on pretty good money and you probably haven't gotten to the level that you need to be yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we know big forwards develop a little bit slower, but I think now's the time. Get some consistent form going. Kick some. I've said it the whole time. Lead up, kick him from sort of 45, 55.
Yeah,
I want to see that sort of forward craft from the big fella.
Yeah, I'd love to see Logs burst out, get his body right, and reward the faithful for sticking fat when he's called himself good to play in a grand final and goes off at halftime.
Correct.
That's what we want from Logs, but that moves us on, Mads. A little bit of housekeeping.
Yes, a little bit of housekeeping.
Now, we've got some exciting news, Faithful, and this is dead set berserk. We never thought we'd be doing something like this, but 29th of March, live at the Rising Sun, JPK, Josh Kennedy, Premiership Player of the Swans, of 2, 3, 4, 5-time Bob Skilton medalist. I don't even know how many times, but phenomenal finals performer. Here's our guest speaker. We'll be interviewing him live on stage. We're going to do some Sydney Swans trivia, and it's just going to be a big barrel of laughs.
It's going to be a big barrel of laughs. There'll be no Swans footy. The buy's on. It's going to you get yourself one of their famous steaks, and you sit down and you have a few beers with the boys and the girls of the faithful. It's going to be great.
For sure. So that's during the round 3 bye. I think tickets will go up on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yep.
So keep your eye out for a look out on the socials, and we will feed you all the information. The tickets will be on the Shopify there. So that'd be awesome. If you are down in Melbourne and can get along, that'll support us and allows us to do what we do here. So get behind us. We'll would love to see you down there.
Yeah.
We've got the footy tipping, Mads.
Tipping.
Now, the link is in the bio on the link tree. Click on the link there, and we'll send the password once the receipt for payment is received.
Now, I have on good authority Pete Gotsis will be back in this year.
Sure.
So he's the man to beat. He's very good at tipping. He just did himself a sunder last year, so that'll be good fun. That's always good for banter. And we'll keep everyone up to date and abreast of the standings each week.
For sure. And then, big thanks to Doozy for coming on. They're the official seltzer of the Swannies.
The official seltzer.
And now they're the official seltzer of True Bloods. It's awesome to have the team on board this year. They've been phenomenal. Get yourself a doozy and watch the footy.
Have a doozy while you're telling a doozy.
Exactly right, Mads. Exactly right. And thanks to the AFL Today team as well. For all your non-Swannies content, make sure you check them out. But this has been True Bloods, the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We're number one in the hearts and we're number one on the charts, Mads. We're speaking words of wisdom up the potty.